Hi everyone, today we are going to learn how to draw a rhino, and rhinos are one of our big five here in South Africa, and so they are part of our natural heritage, and so I thought it would be a good idea to learn how to draw one. So we're going to start on the left hand side here with his eye. So his head's going to be here with his horns, and then his body's going to come this way. Alright, so we're going to start, or maybe sort of in the middle again, like we had with our polar bear yesterday. We're going to start with a little black dot, and we're going to add some detail to his eye, some curved lines, and I'm going to put another curved line above his eye. I'm going to come back and add some more details to his eye just now, but we're going to draw the rest of him for now. Above his eye here, we're going to draw his nose, the top of his face where the horns are going to be attached. So I'm going to start with a curved line, gentle curved line, and then I'm going to go over a little bump and another curved line, and we're going to curve that downwards on the front of his noses, his lip, and we're going to put into your mouth. I'm going to put his chin down, just like that, and I'm going to do a big curved line from here going all the way up to finish off his face. Alright, let's do his forehead. So from here we can have a slanting forehead coming up and back. Let's attach his ears. We're going to put a curved line from here going waving up and back down again and in. And then we finish off his ear with another curved line on the other side. Let's do the other ear on the other side. We're just going to see the back of that ear. Let's put in his horns. This main horn in the front here you can make as long as you like. Some of the big male rhinos have really long horns. Unfortunately, with our poaching here, many of our rhinos have had their horns removed for their own safety. They can really grow very long. Right, we've got our rhino's head. We're going to go up to his neck and go over his shoulder. So his neck's going to come up from here and go up to the shoulder. Down his back. And it's going to come up again and down. Right, got the sort of the shape of his body. Alright, let's do some more of his neck. He's got quite sort of wrinkly neck, so I want to add some wrinkles here. So maybe one, and then maybe another smaller one, and a line coming along his neck. Let me put his leg on. I'm going to do a curved line from here, coming past where his neck is, and out again, and we put his little feet. And back up. And it's heading towards his shoulder. That's where his shoulder's up there. Let's do his other leg. We're going to make this leg like he's walking, so it's being lifted up. So we're going to come out and in. And we put the part of his foot across. And then we just put that last bit of his leg in. There we go. Alright, we're going to add in his tummy now. So from his neck, I want a line that's going to sort of line up with his neck line here. So in my head, I'm going to imagine where it might go behind his leg. And then he's got this really big tummy. Let's do his back leg. from below his tummy here, I'm going to do a curved line coming out. And I want this leg to be about the same length as this leg here. I'm going to add his foot. And then we're going to just put a sort of a bump. It's kind of where the back of his heel is. And then going up into his leg. When we add in our details here, then this will make more sense. Let's put in his other leg, which is behind. Another curved line. His foot. And we'll just make the leg at the back there. Alright, let's add his tail. A rhino has quite a short tail. So put his tail on. And it's got a little bit of a furry bit at the end. So we can add that on. Okay, we've got our rhino. Let's add some details now. So let's start with his eye. We can add a few more wrinkles around his eyes. We can add some details around his mouth. We need a nose, so let's draw his nostril. I'm going to draw sort of a sideways 6. So it's going to come up and in. And I'm going to color in this nostril here. And I'm going to put another line above it. I'm going to put some more wrinkles here on his legs. Back here as well. We are going to put on a few contour lines, and a contour line is a line that follows the shape of his body. And we're not going to do a solid line, we're going to do a sort of broken dashed line, so you can be quite light with your pencil or your pen, whatever you're using. And we're just going to think about where his body is. And then it can be shorter and longer, and it's just going to give us that shape of his big belly coming around. I'm going to put 1 or 2 lines up here as well, and how his body's coming down. Let's put some details around his horn and more around his face. So I'm going to put some wrinkles around his face, and you can see I'm just using again those broken lines. We don't always need to have complete lines. Let's add a contour 2 around his ear. And these are simple lines, but they just draw attention to important little elements of our rhino. Right, we need to give some more details to his feet. And elephants and rhinos, they have quite similar feet. They have these sort of big pad feet, and they've got these toenails. So let's put the toenails on. 3, and this one I'll just put 2 on, and 3 again, and 2. Put that one on that side. Alright, I also like to think about where this rhino's knees are, and I sort of put some, again, just some broken wrinkles about where his knees are, sort of going around where his knees are, just to add some character, because rhinos are definitely full of character. Alright, and last but not least, we definitely need to add some details to his horns, because they are one of the most important parts of a rhino. And so we are going to put some contour lines again, lines that follow the shape of the horn. And these can be lines that go all the way up, or some of the lines can just be going halfway up. Or maybe they come down halfway. Just thoughtfully add these lines in. That's sort of building the form of our you might also notice that I've put more lines on the edges and I've left an area that doesn't have as many lines, and that can help to make the horn look more 3D. Let's do the smaller horn, following the shape. Maybe a fewer lines in the middle, and layering a few more lines on the outside. Right, and there we have our gorgeous Rhino. We're going to shade him. Again, I don't have a grey pencil crayon, so I'm just going to use my black. You could even add a little bit of brown if you'd like. Rhinos love to roll in the mud and cool off, and it also protects them from insects and sunburn. But I'm just going to keep it simple today. I'm going to keep my black. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a general black shading everywhere, and then after that I'm going to go and I'm going to add some shadows and shading to bring out his form a bit better. You can also use our trick of coloring in the background like we did with our polar bear yesterday, where we start dark and going lighter, going out towards the edge of the page. Also just finishes off a drawing so beautifully. So I'm going to fast forward this part. I'm going to give him a general shading, and then I'll see you back to give some instructions on how to do our shadows. Alright, boys and girls, as you can see, I've just given him a very simple shading everywhere. You may have even noticed that I've colored him in the way I tell you not to color him in, which is using big strokes going across a big area all in the same direction. When we are taking our time with him, what we can maybe give it a little more thought, maybe making our strokes go along the direction of his shape. And that really would give him much better form. But I'm in a hurry today, so we're just going to giving him a very general shading. You can see though, even with this general shading, I can go back and add in these contour lines and textures. And I'm not trying to try and cover all the white. I can actually just work over my general shading that I've got to give him some more shape and texture. Alright, so what we're also going to do now is we're going to start looking at where I can put some dark bits, some shadows. So let's start with the bottom of his tummy. That is definitely going to be darker underneath. The beautiful African sunshine is shining on his back, and his tummy and his belly is in shadow. So I'm going to have a nice shadow coming around his belly, and you can see that I'm following the shape of his body where I can. My lines are coming up. I can make it a bit dark in some of these creases also, and your shading can extend past your line that you have drawn. Right, let's carry that shadow on underneath his neck. I'm just going to turn my page this way. Don't be scared to turn your page so it's comfortable. So I don't want to make a shadow across the page. Right, so let's continue on that shadow here. And again, we can work into some of those creases. My pencil marks are following the shape of him. I can extend those lines and add more creases with my pencil crayon. We have been talking about how when we are drawing, things that are far away are darker and they look like they are further away, and things that are closer are lighter. So I can see that these two legs are further away, so I can make them darker quite safely. And don't be scared to let your mark show. A rhino has got actually quite rough skin. So in fact your marks would really be the texture of his skin. And then make it a bit dark at the top. And then maybe the sun is shining down by his toes. So along the top and along the back. And then we do the same on this one. Along the top. And down the back. His foot will also have some shadow on it. Alright. Let's give his other legs a little bit. Now these are going to be more in the light, so they don't need as dark a shadow. But again, just going down either side, following the shape of your lines. Just add in some darker lines. Doesn't have to be perfect, as I said. That rough skin of the rhino is going to come out with our mark making that we are doing now over our simple coloring in. Let's do some more here around his rump, and this tail is also going to be further back, so we can make his tail a bit darker. Wherever I see creases, I'm just bringing out some more black detail. Okay, and I can add in again some more contour lines to bring out his shape. Right, let's give his face some more attention, because the face of the animal is really very important. So let's start with his ears, and very easily I can color in the middle of his ears a bit darker, and again just around the outside of his ears. Maybe I even put a bit of a shadow behind his ear and over the middle of his head. Just to bring out his face. Let's put some shading around his eyes. And again, I can add some extra wrinkles if I want to with my pencil crown. Again, those contour lines. Let me put a shadow along his front of his snout, and definitely a bit shade around his nostril. Let's color and shade his lower jaw slightly darker. And again here. This can also be darker underneath this area. Right, he's coming along. Let's make a shadow behind this part of his face. It's really going to show off his face. And again, even if it's a little bit rough, a rhino is a very leathery animal, and he lives in the wild of Africa. So we don't want him to look furry, but we are not afraid of giving him some texture. Even doing a crosshatch, where we have lines going one way and then crossing with lines going another way, is giving that leathery feel. Alright, we certainly want to give his horn some attention, the majestic horn of the rhino. And I'm just doing the same again that I do with my pen. I'm doing with my pencil crown. If you are using pencil, you want to make these rhino horns actually really dark. If you were drawing in pencil, we want that rhino horn to really stick out. I think it's got to be the most important part of our rhino drawings. Yes. And finally, we can get his toes, a little bit of detail. Bring them out. I didn't give this back leg any shading, so let me give a little bit of shading along the sides. And again the toes. Alright. Okay, and there there's our rhino. If you want to do some more, you want to do a background, you can. You could do a ground that he's standing on, or you can even just very simply do that shading technique that we learned yesterday with our polar bear, of shading with a color darker, fading out to light, so that you don't have to color in the entire background, but it's really showing off your animal. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing your rhinos, and hopefully you'll be back in class again soon. Bye.